this kind of a problem.
Yes, sir, and that's why we took the measures we did in putting in the roof barrier, et cetera, to ensure that we don't have those issues. And I know exactly who will be responsible if indeed they do occur, but we've taken every precautionary step that we currently know how to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Bill.
Just a few questions.
Oh, no.
No, Saul is wonderful. He has helped our neighborhood so much with our tree woes. The definition of a street tree, Matilda, in here, does that change what we have been calling street trees in neighborhoods like Tofty Phase 1, like
Not really.
my house?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so
We just made it, we just swapped it out a little bit, but it hasn't changed what we've originally called.
so those original platted designations,
Right.
they are still street trees?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got you on that. On 1232-030, the scope, the city forester has exclusive jurisdiction and supervision over all trees growing in public places and private places. That really, it looks like, though, is limited by Section D in terms of orders to preserve or remove. We're not looking, the city's not looking to tell people in their private backyard, hey, you can't plant that species, as long as it's
No.
not noxious.
What we are doing, though, is if there's a tree that's going to cause harm on the public,
Yes.
then yes, he has that. But
You
that's
bet.
the only time he's going to be probably dealing with trees on private property.
As a public safety or
Yes,
property damage
that's
concern. Right.
And that was the intent of this.
And so in our general run-of-the-mill neighborhoods, not arterials, not collectors, just neighborhood, how high do we need to trim up above the sidewalk? Is it 8 feet?
Depends on if it's a local arterial or
Okay.
collector.
And that gives room for our street sweepers and all of that?
And bicycles, if you have a bicycle travel lane, but mostly those are going to be on our collectors and our.
Right. Okay.
But if they're overhanging the street itself, don't they have to be 14 feet?
14 feet.
So the RVs and things, trucks can go by.
And we have a nice new piece of equipment that I really tried to protect, and I kind of like the operator of it as well.
That's that old street sweeper.
Actually, we have a 12-foot limit if it's on a local street and 14 on the arterial or collector. So it's a slightly different, depending on how busy the roadway is.
And on streets like Southeast 13th, Tofty and Valley View, we've got lots of trees along that, but there is access from the road, so that will still remain the responsibility of the HOAs and the private homeowners?
Yeah, I think Saul called out
Okay.
exactly which sections of those streets that we would be responsible for. The rest of them will be the homeowners. And that was that criteria I was talking about.
Yeah, that's
So the
how I
ones that are
read it
listed are the
was-
ones that we will be taking care of on the arterials and collectors.
Okay, great.
Otherwise, it's the homeowner's responsibility to do it, but if they don't, we step in.
Yeah, that was my reading, was because there
Yeah.
is access from the street, it's
That's
still our
right.
responsibility.
That was the criteria, one of the
Alrighty.
criteria.
And is there any, our typical remove and replace street tree permits, is there any fee for that coming in, or is those still?
Do you collect anything?
Not at this time.
We haven't.
Okay.
Don't, and
We don't.
I don't have a feeling either way about that at this time.
All
It's
right.
not something that I'm thinking about right now. So there is no fee, and from past experience, I've been in the other seat, and it's a little easier the way it is now.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. All righty. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you both.
Just one other, actually, my only other question actually had to do with what Councilor Parker mentioned. And I'm noticing that this list, and for the cameras, it's not a small list. It's not like the homeowner has 6 trees to choose from. There's 114 varieties on this list. Are all 114 on Sequoia Parkway, or where can people go and view all those trees that are on this
They're
list?
all on Sequoia Parkway, and if you started at Arneson Garden, or basically what would be the south side of Fred Meyer, and travel Sequoia Parkway all the way, it ends on that side, but if you travel to what would be South 3rd, and then along the cemetery, it continues, and on 2 sides, what would be the north and the east side of the cemetery, they are there, and then to come back heading north now on Sequoia Parkway and starting at basically the Wilco property. It continues all the way around there and it goes slightly onto Hazeldale Way. And every one of them is on there and they all have a placard. with,
Perhaps we should make a map of that. You
Well,
know,
we
that-
do need to include a map.
That would be good. We should probably have a little tour map, and that would be easy to do. That would be a good thing for us to do, because then, instead of us trying to explain that, because I already got lost. So
Yeah.
I think if we mapped it out and maybe even listed, we could list what tree they were seeing, 1, 2, 3, 4, then we could let people take a look. So that would be,
Yeah,
that would be a good
wonderful
idea.
idea.
There is a plaque on each of those that has the common as well as the botanical name, and it actually says on it, if you look at it, it will say 3 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, or 8 foot, and that indicates which size plant or strip it would be appropriate for. And some of the neighborhoods, including, several, Tofty including them and Feist, there are some curb-type plantings as well. And so then we look at how deep the easement is, or the right-of-way behind the sidewalk. And most of those places end up usually with a 3 foot, a tree appropriate for a 3 foot planter, so we're not going into the realm of having sidewalk issues in the future.
Great, thanks, Saul. And Matilda, that's all I have.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just jotting a quick note. Great. I will, any other questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move for ordinance number 1385, an ordinance amending Canby Municipal Code, CMC Chapter 12.32, regarding street regulations, adopting a street tree planting and maintenance policy, and adopting an official street tree list.
Thank you, sir. Have a second, please.
Second?
Thank you. It's been motioned by Councilor Dale, second by Councilor Ryder, to approve ordinance 1385, amending Canby Municipal Code, Chapter 12.32, regarding tree regulations, adopting a street tree planting and maintenance policy, and adopting an official street tree list. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 6-0. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Matilda. Thank you, Saul.
Thank you, Saul and Matilda.
All right. Moving into new business. Discussion regarding no parking zone on west side of North Cedar between Northwest 2nd Avenue and Northwest 3rd Avenue.
Mr.
And,
Mayor, if I could touch on a couple of things.
yes, sir.
This came up at our traffic safety issue, and I was fortunate that was a meeting, Mr. Mayor, that you attended.
Yes, sir.
And Councilor Hensley and City Manager Greg Ellis, and Saul was there as well. And one of our Canby police officers was making the recommendation that we have a no parking zone along the sidewalk because cars have to actually pull out into the intersection in order to be able to see, so it represents a real safety issue. We voted on this as a group. It did pass unanimously, but I actually got an email from Jerry Nelzine who asked that we vote on this as a council, I think, to make sure everything's been filtered through.
Well, and if I could chime in, because what I did was I went ahead and researched this in advance.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Chapter 10, Section 4.130, actually, it's a kind of a slightly random place to find this, but it's under Public Works Director and their duties, and it basically outlines, subject to the approval of City Council by either resolution or motion, so you can just move, it doesn't necessarily have to be right by resolution. And sub D says designate areas in which no parking shall be permitted. And so it's within your power to just move to do it if you want. But it was, whenever you move or make a resolution, you have to do it in a public meeting, so we wanted advance notice to get here.
Okay. Is there,
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we make a no parking zone on the west side of North Cedar Street between Northwest 2nd Avenue and Northwest 3rd Avenue, as per the recommendation of our Traffic Safety Commission.
great. Thank you, sir.
Second?
Mr. Mayor, question? I'm just wondering if there's anybody from that neighborhood here?
Thank you for doing that.
Nobody. I was just wondering if the neighbors had any words on how it would affect them, but since they're not here, I have no question.
Okay. Is there any other discussion or comments at all at this point?
Did anyone talk to the neighbors about this proposal?
I believe, let's see, the officer that was there is Jeremy, what's his last?
Holstead?
Holstead. I believe it's been an issue where he's had to tracked down some of the neighbors around there that park along there because it's been a real hazard. And I think that, he's asked them not to park there, but there's kind of a limit on what he can do because it's not a designated no parking zone.
Do they have off-street parking?
Yes.
There.
Yes, the park there is a real safety hazard, and that's why the recommendation was made of this type.
And also, there, on that
Yes.
side of the street, there's no houses that you can enter. That's fences for the back of the townhouses or apartments in that development. And I think there's one or two houses on the east side of Cedar right there between Second and Third, but nothing on the west side.
So it's not impeding anybody's parking for their residents?
Nothing,
Okay.
except unless they're from the west side, they live on the west side. But they do have off-street parking.
They do.
Driveways. Now, they do park in the street, one or two cars, like every house has three cars, and you get two in the driveway, so.
Now, is that where the trucks come out from, down by the police?
It is where the trucks, well, it's on Cedar, but they come off Third, and the truck route is turn left on Cedar and immediately turn right on Third over to Elm. That's where they're supposed to go. Trucks aren't supposed to come down Cedar towards Second. So they do come out there, but it wouldn't affect the trucks in any way.
Okay.
As Officer Holstad explained to us, that in the commission, was that when you get cars parking on both sides, it narrows that road dramatically to sometimes where two cars cannot pass, and it creates a visibility aspect for cars coming off of Third, especially officers if they're headed out quickly. So that was what led to some of that concern or that was brought up by Officer Holstad to that group, so.
Safety issue.
Yeah. I think I just have an ask that maybe we do before we go and paint the curb, that maybe do another touch base to let those people that along there know that is going to be occurring, depending on the vote, obviously, but if we do decide to do that,
All right.
we maybe just give another notification that's in the interest of public safety and visibility and all that we are doing this piece.
Good.
Okay. So there is a motion on the table. Any other discussion at all?
I have none.
All right. All those in favor of setting up a no parking zone on the west side of North Cedar between Northwest Second Avenue and Northwest Third Avenue? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion is made and passes 6-0. Thank you, Councilor Coleman, for bringing that to us. Appreciate that.
First win.
Nope, that's a good win for that group. Perfect.
Eager for that motion. You
First
did good.
year.
You advocated well.
Great. City Administrator's business and staff reports.
The only thing is, I would add that I also went to the League of Oregon Cities conference last weekend and enjoyed it very much, and it's always good to talk to your colleagues and find out how great it is in Canby.
We are an amazing city.
We are, absolutely.
We are. No, that was a great conference, and yeah, it's interesting, a lot of similarities and differences, but there's a lot that we're all kind of dealing with and trying to plod through, so it was a great conference and well worth it, so thank you. Thank you, Kim, for setting us up with that. Anything else, Greg?
No, that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Second opportunity for citizen input, if anybody would like to take it. No rushing. We will go into action review.
You have updated the council liaison list. You've adopted Resolution 1174 and 1175. You've approved Ordinance 1385 to come up for second reading on October 16th. And you've approved a no parking zone on the west side of North Cedar between Northwest 2nd Avenue and Northwest 3rd Avenue. And you've asked that the property owners be notified prior to curbs being painted.
Great. Thank you, Kim. We do have a exec session here, so I'll need a motion to move into an exec session.
Mr. Mayor, I move we go into executive session for pending, ORS 192.660, Parent 3, labor negotiations.
A second?
Motion made by Councilor Dale and seconded by Councilor Hensley to move into executive session under ORS 192.660 did you say parent? Thank you, parent 3 labor negotiations. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed for exec session? All right. The city council will now recess this meeting to meet in executive session for the purpose of discussing labor negotiations. The executive session is held held pursuant to ORS 192.660, parent 3, which allows the council to meet in executive session to discuss those topics. Only representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the exec session. The council will adjourn to the City Hall conference room to hold its executive session. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the session, we may reconvene the meeting in the City Hall conference room and conduct any further business that needs to be taken care of. With that, we will say goodnight to Canby and to our audience. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.